Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is March 2nd, 2022, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, oil explodes to new record highs at $108 a barrel. We haven't seen that in a very long time. But first, looking at the major economic events of the day at 5 p.m. South African time out of the United States, we have a ISM Services PMI number coming out, and also a Fed Chairman Powell will be testifying in relation to the last interest rate decision. Now, looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, the euro and the British pound pretty much tank, and the Australian dollar steady versus the USD. Now, looking at the indices, both the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ fell off of bed yesterday and they sold off, but they did get a late day bounce. Now, looking at commodities, oil to new record highs and gold rallies to 1936. And looking at the stocks, it's the bank stocks that got hammered yesterday and were the biggest losers. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, steady at resistance. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So going to first start with the EURUSD and a weekly. Now, the euro, obviously the closest to, geographically speaking, closest to Russia, which will be affected with what's going on, and the spillover will happen. I mean, it's happening already, right? They're putting all these sanctions, and sanctions is an act of war, right? It's a non-aggressive act of war, but it's an act of war nonetheless. So we're seeing that actually happen here at 111, and some of the rhetoric coming out of the EU states means that they're going to ump some of their military spending in order to face this confrontation that is inevitable with Russia. Now, we're trading at 111, 11.15 right here. You could see it right there. We are at supportish area. Now, if we do break this area and we sell off, we could be back at the 108, 107 level easy. Okay, so keep that in mind. GBPUSD as well sold off, and we are at that bottom range. Okay, we haven't sold off to the low of 131.86, but we're very close. Okay, so relatively, the GBP, speaking as a individual currency versus the USD, is a little bit stronger. What you don't see happening here, look at this. The Aussie USD is pretty strong. Didn't retrace whatsoever on its resistance-ish level. Yeah, it sold off a little bit, but not, I would have expected to be at 71.35, 71.37, but it's not. It's all the way on its highs, which may mean that it could break higher if we do this, see this trend actually continue, and there'll be a correction in the markets. Now, jumping in commodities, gold trading at 1936, down from its 1945. We got a big spike yesterday as the market sold off, and that's sure enough what's been happening. If we look at oil, 108.24. We haven't been here, ladies and gents, in a very long time. Look at that. I mean, that is just orbital as it's been going. Now, at this range, okay, the real resistance level or support level would be 100, but this could continue going higher if the conflict continues and it gets a little bit uglier and there's some spillover, obviously, into the European states. Now, looking at the Dow Jones, trading right now at 33,412. Now, yesterday, we sold off from 34,000 at the beginning of the morning, okay, which was Monday morning, after we rallied about 800 points. We sold off about 500 to 600 points and then some. Okay, so we pretty much came back to almost where we were the previous day. And now we're just bouncing a little bit here at 33,416. So all of a sudden, we find ourselves in the mid-range of the Dow Jones, trading between 33 and 34,000. And we're right there. Okay, we gapped down on Monday morning. We rallied to 34. We closed that gap, and then we sold off, and now we're just tapering off here at 33,421, just digesting some of the news. Now, remember, economies are still economies, right? On Friday, we have NFP for the month of February, so this would be really interesting how this continues to unfold. Now, looking at the NASDAQ, okay, also got a little bit of a bounce yesterday to 14,075, about that 14,000-ish level. Now, it's a mixed bag when it comes to the stocks. Apple got a little bit of a bounce, nothing really to write home about. Facebook still dead, still very, very weak. And this is my go-to on the downside because I think that this will continue selling off. Looking at Microsoft, did get a little bit of a bounce as well. Cisco got a little bit of a bounce. But when we look at the bank stocks, look what happened to JP Morgan. Okay, we're looking at a weekly chart. Now, we had a support level of 141. That's been breached. The next support level is 118, guys. So we do have some room for this to continue selling off if this does continue to sell off. So keep that in mind as this still unfolds. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin. Beautiful setup at 44,254. Now, imagine you're at wartime. The market's at array. You don't know how to send money, so everybody's sending money with Bitcoin. And that's having a tremendous upkeep for Bitcoin right now. We're getting this spike. So Bitcoin in a time of war and gold in a time of war both go up. So that's something to consider, you know, as a strategy moving forward as the markets kind of digest what the use of Bitcoin is in these type of environments. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.